Hey guys, Brass Facts here. You can probably tell by the lack of quality of my voice and microphone, I'm out at SHOT 2025. It's Friday. Things, including my will to live, are wrapping up, and like tradition, every year I'm going to kind of talk about things that I found interesting at the show, kind of a Brass Facts abridged edition of SHOT Show 2025. I've also filmed, just for fun, more so than anything else, a couple test booth reviews, assaults, whatever we're calling it, on the Nova group, so that's the alternate channel. So go check out those if you want some more detailed opinions about certain things. Otherwise, let's do it. So, was it in no particular order other than I just realized alphabetical order because that's the order the footage is sorted in. So, in very particular order, let's start with the Z-Bolt ACAL. I swear, this year's going to be the year of the MFAL. A lot of really promising stuff is already out and coming out at this time, and the ACAL is no exception. I did a sort of state of the union of laser aiming modules on the Nova Group channel, so I'm going to keep it short here. Assuming the ACAL comes in on time, on budget, it will kind of fill out a middle rung of the laser aiming modules. It holds its weight and size very well. It looks like a D2 on camera, but in person it's much, much smaller. All right, since we're talking about lasers, let's talk about other lasers. The Halcyon Iris series. I'm working on a review for the Iris 3. I thought this was like their third version, but no, it turns out the naming convention is actually how many features it has. Now there's a full fleet of these things. The Iris 2, which is a 2-function. The Iris 3, the one everyone's talking about, is a 3-function. And then the coveted 4-function unit, the Iris 4, with a flashlight. The 4 is actually really quite good. Usually the flashlights on these things kind of suck ass, but these ones, we were able to shine the light on the top of the showroom floor, and we could still see a good chunk of light out there, which leads me to believe maybe 50,000 candles, give or take, something like that. I don't know. I didn't really get to talk to anyone at the booth, but it's using an 18650 battery, so yeah, it's got some chooch there. So that one's really cool because it's only slightly bigger than the Iris 3. Like I keep saying with the Iris during the lead up to this thing coming out, it's really going to kind of be the go-to laser because the price tag and the performance ratio is just out of this world. It's the best by far. Okay, one more laser to talk about after this. I'm done, I promise. So if we had the Iris making up the bottom end with just impressive performance, and then we have the middle end being actually similar since it's now V-Cell, impressive performance, but in a made in America package with the ACAL. We have the top rung of the ladder being filled up by the Steiner Atlas. This thing, I was very surprised. I didn't even know this was a thing right up until it showed up in front of my face, and it's essentially a programmable MAL for, well, $2,500. So damn, that's really good. It has 4 or 3 V-cell emitters on the front, and then you have 3 buttons. The main one is your standard fire button, and then the other 2 are programmable to do basically what you want. Wide beam, low beam, high power, low power, you name it. So very, very cool, and I'm going to try all of them. I want them all. Another thing really thought was cool, but I actually did a video on the Nova group, is the B&T TP9 Pro. Speed running it, so if you don't want to watch that video. New charging handle, sling mounting point in the reel. New railed interface at the top that has a slot for an acro. That kind of weird, to be honest. And a new suppressor, as well as a new suppressor collar. I'm honestly not that excited about the gun. It's cool, but I already own a TP9, and I don't want 2 TP9s. So a lot of these features don't really justify an upgrade per se. They're cool, so if you're gonna get a TP9, absolutely this is better than the old TP9. But none of the things really change anything, and nor do I want to use an acro enough to justify it. Okay, I take it back. Having rails on both sides, what a novel concept, wow. Actually does a lot to make the thing improved, and I'm wondering if I can swap up the upper somehow. We'll see. Everyone is talking about how the trigger isn't improved, and I think it is lighter. We finger fucked it twice on 2 separate days, actually, and it's good, right? It's fine. Cool, it's lighter. The issue is, and I think they kind of missed the mark here, is that the TP9 trigger is not bad because of the pull weight. It's bad because there is 400 miles of pre-travel, being a both bullpup and a machine gun trigger wrapped into one. This is not as cool as I thought it could have been. However, what I am excited about is the suppressor, or namely the suppressor collar. There's a new suppressor collar. They kept saying it was hub, which I'm going to assume, judging by the dimensions, is going to be like hub Bravo. So that's the main kind of rifle suppressor. So it's not going to work with standard 9mm suppressors, because is that Charlie or is that Alpha? I can't fucking keep track, man. But it's the larger interface. So that means you don't have to use the TP9 suppressor. However, they also came out with a new TP9 suppressor, which actually looks pretty good too. Especially you can kind of run it in a long mode and a short mode. And on that part is actually more exciting than the whole new gun. So I might be buying the can, or at least I'll be buying the collar and then retrofitting another can on it. So hell yeah. Okay, EOTech 3 to 9X. Everyone is fucking pumped for this thing, and I think a lot of people are viewing it as an ACOG that happens to have a 9X. I'm not quite seeing it. The field of view is a bit crushy. The durability isn't there, though it is certainly light and small. If you want an ACOG RMR or Prism RMR or something to that effect, I'm using RMR colloquially here. This isn't probably it. I think this is more for the people that were running 2 to 10Xs plus a red dot on top. But they weren't really using the rifle in a precision long-range role. They just wanted more magnification, and thus the 2 to 10. Something like a Credo 2 to 10, right? And they're not dialing. They're barely even using the reticle. They're just using a mean point-blank 0 and calling it. My only gripe with it is I feel like it would have been cool if they had a dialable version, or they had one with a slightly better reticle. Come on, guys. This is terrible. What
are we waiting in line for?
The best kind of beer. Free beer.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do,
it's free.
It's free beer.
Real quick, Leupold, remember back when I bitched about the 2 to 10X Mark V having a basic reticle and charging $500 for illumination? Yeah, they finally made it better now. The reticle is visible at 2X and actually has some modern designs in it, Christmas tree, but also a horseshoe so you can see it a little easier. On top of that, they threw in illumination that's actually worth a fuck, and this thing is bright as dick, so good job there. That price tag is a lot more palatable now. And it opens the door, potentially, we saw it with Primary Arms in the PLXC RDB, for a new rehashed Leupold LPVO, right? With red dot bright illumination while maintaining first focal plane. Hey, we're getting there. Only took us 2 years. Speaking of LPVOs, PLXC, my beloved from Primary Arms. They came out with the RDB, which all I can think about is Caltech, but red dot bright. Let's just say it's a PLXC attacker for $1,000 less, with a better 1X, with a slightly worse reticle that's significantly lighter. Yeah, I'm buying one, right? That's good. That's really good. Insanely good.
It's trains again. I like trains.
So, next up, Magpul. Came out with a $20 T-Mag, cute, whatever. I'm going to put it on rifles when I'm in the mountains, and it's kind of neat. You could look inside. Kind of useful for a single mag on a gun. The bigger deal is the ICAR magazine. Magpul looked at the current 6mm ARC platform or ecosystem, whatever, and was like, fuck that when it came to the magazine situation, which understandable, and they redesigned an entire lower. Or maybe Surefire redesigned the lower and then Magpul. I'm sure it was collaborative, whatever. The point is they have a new magazine. It requires a different lower, but it's Magpul, so I'm pretty damn sure this magazine is going to knock it out of the park in terms of reliability, and we already know it's much better than the existing ones in terms of price tag. This is a much bigger deal than you think, because if Magpul adopts something, it's a very confident stamp of approval of the general trend of where the market is going to go. In this case, design the magazines and others will follow, and yeah, look at it. Look, Surefire obviously had the lower on the demo gun at the booth, and I'm pretty sure that means SOCOM is probably already using this thing. But more importantly, PSA out of nowhere was like, hey, yep, we made a gun as well in 6 ARC, and it's using the ICAR magazines out on the showroom floor. Thing actually looks more complete than half of the guns they had out there that day. So it's a really good thing because it solves one of the fundamental issues that I had with 6mm ARC, and that is the magazines, the lowers, and the lack of reliability because of those two things. So yeah, cool. This is good. Am I a believer yet? Yeah, I'm going to try it, but this reminds me a lot of 6.5 Grendel, and we all saw how that went. And that's mostly that. There's a ton of other things that I wanted to talk about, but I didn't want to make the video go too long, and there was really not much there, as in the product might have not been fully developed, or there's a lot of changes, or whatever, or I was just going to review it, or I just got lazy and I really need to go get a Red Bull at this point. So, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to you for another Brass Facts Friday, and This one, thank you for all the guys that met with me at SHOT Show. People I knew, people I didn't know, all coming up to shake my hand and like let me know that they appreciate the channel. And that's incredibly humbling from my point of view, because it's like I don't feel fundamentally different than I did when I started this a while ago. So I still feel like that same dude that was scrounging together money to go shoot guns out of the desert and then sometimes filmed it and then edited it together poorly and just shoved it out on the internet. And the fact that you guys enjoy this, the people that met me enjoy this enough to want to meet me is wild to me. So thanks, guys. 2025, we're just getting started. Here's for another year, huh? All right, guys. See you later.
Every trip.
Nova. Hi. Where's the dog?
Yeah, we have to leave you behind.
I'm sorry. No Nova clips.